In this session, we are going to learn about a very important topic, which is data matching. If you learn this topic very well, um, you will become a professional Grasshopper designer because about learning about various components is so easy. You will sooner or later, for example, circle, you will sooner or later understand by just searching around these components. But learning data matching will differentiate you from other people who use Grasshopper or Rhino. In order to learn data matching, I will start with a very simple example. I will generate 6 points here and then 3 points here, and then I will generate two components, point, right click, set multiple points here and enter, and right click, set multiple points and then enter. And then with the line, I will initially disable the preview because I don't want to see what happened right now to learn about what is going on about data matching, about how these 6 points will be connected with these points through line. Because we have 6 lines in this one and 3 in this. How Grasshopper by default think is that Grasshopper will connect the first point to this first item. So first one to first, second to second, third to third item. But the fourth and fifth and sixth one has no similar item. So by default, Grasshopper will use the last item in the second branch. So the fourth point will be connected to third, the fifth will be connected to third, and the sixth will be connected to third. It is what if I enable the preview in this component, in line component, you will see. This is what by default will happen in Grasshopper. Now I'm going to generate another branches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But the second branch, I'm going to generate the first point here, the second here, and the third here. So what will happen between these two items? I'm going to make a copy of this. As you remember, while I'm dragging this component and press Alt key, I can make a copy simply, or I can easily right click and create a copy, or Control C, Control V. But the most professional way to create a copy is dragging and pressing the Alt key. Now, for example, if I enable the preview, you can see that what happened. What happened was exactly the same that I drew. But in this component, I will right click and set multiple points, so it will happen, and then right click and set multiple points, and this happens. If I enable the preview, you can see that this happened. But why? What will Grasshopper do is connect them by a sequence of generating these points, which means that the first point is connected to the first point in this. The second will be connected to this point that I generated the second one. And the third will be connected to the third point that I created, that I generated. And again, same as this, the fourth and fifth and sixth point will be connected to the last point in this branch that I generated. This is a simple example of what data matching means. So when we talk about data matching, it means that how Grasshopper connect these branches, these data together, how Grasshopper match actually these data together. Okay, now for our other example, I'm going to generate 3 points and then point, right click, set multiple points, this, and then use circle component, this one. As you can see, circle has two inputs, plane and radius, so data matching is important. Double slash. As you can remember, when I type double slash, I will create a panel. And this panel, I will type various numbers, for example, 1.5. Because I have multiple data in panel, as you can remember in our previous tutorials, when I right click on it and then enable multi-line data, I will have this. But let's initially disable the preview to understand what's going on here. What we have right now is we have 3 items, 3 points here, and we have 4 items here. What Grasshopper by default do is matching this first item with the first. So my first circle will have the radius of 1.5. The second item with the second item here. And the third has this radius of 2. But I have 4 items in this branch, which I have 3 points in here. So what Grasshopper do? Grasshopper will draw the fourth circle with again with the radius of 4 and 3 with this third point here. So when I turn on the preview here, you can see what's going on. So my first circle has the radius of 1.5. My second circle has the radius of 2.5. The third point has a radius of 2. And because I have another radius here, it will use the third point, the third item here with a radius of 4 and 3, 4.3. So for third point, I have 2 radius. One is with radius of 2 and one with the radius of 4.3. Therefore, as you can see, by each component has this the same default data matching, which is based on longest list. Now we are going to have another example. I'm going to generate 4 other points. Double click on canvas, point, set multiple points, and then polygon. I am using another component which is polygon. Polygon will create a polygon with optional round edges. It has 4 input actually. The first is point, the second is radius, and for example, I'm going to create 6 segments and the radius of 2. Now I have a hexagon with, for example, 1.2 radius. I'm going to explain how data matching happen in this component. I have 4 items in this component, and then 1 in radius in panel, and then 1 in segments, which means that if I draw it simply, it means that I have 4 points, 1 and 1. So what happened is that the first item will go with the radius of 1.2 and the segments with 6. The second point, again, because there is no matching items, the second will go with the first item, and again with the first, which means the second point will have the radius of 1.2 and the segments and 6 segments. Again, the third point will go with the radius of 1.2 and with the 6 segments. Again, the fourth point have 1.2 radius and 6 segments. This is what happened about data matching in this component. So as you can see, every one of these components have the same data matching in Grasshopper by default. But what will happen if I add another data in this panel? As you can remember, when we have multiple data in panel, we should right click and enable multi-line data. So what will happen in this is that again we have 4 points and then 1 radius, and the third input has 2 items. So what will happen is that the first point will make a polygon with the radius of 1.2 and with 6 segments. The second point will have, because it hasn't similar item, it will go with the last item, which is the radius of 1.2, and then it will have because it has similar item in segments, it will have the second item, which is 4. So it will create um, a polygon with 4 segments. And again, the third point will have the radius. It will make a polygon with the numbers of 1.2 and 4 segments. Again, the fourth point will have will go with the numbers of 1.2 and 4 segments. So as you can see, the result will be changed, uh, which means that the first one is a hexagon, but the second, third, and fourth one will have 4 segments, which makes square. So if I, for example, change this number and add, for example, 2, and then right click on it to enable multi-line data, again it will have another it will generate another curves, another polygons. So this is data matching is important because it is back end of generating in Grasshopper. If you are a professional Grasshopper designer, you will understand this back end, what's going on in back end, which means that what's going on in the designer mind. Which, for example, an amateur Grasshopper designer just see this front end of these components, and they cannot understand what is really going on in back end. So it is really important to consider these graphs and data matching, how data matching happen in this Grasshopper components. So when I change this, or for example at another point such as 1 or 3, what will happen is that in this session I'm going to draw these graphs, but the important thing is that it should, after a while, after when you become professional, you will understand what's going on. There's no need to draw these graphs. So what will happen in this algorithm is the first point goes with the first, and the first, second, 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 third goes with this, the third item, but because it has not matching data in the third input, it will use the last item, which is this one. And again, this goes with the last item and the last item with this, which means that the first polygon will be generated by the radius of 1.2 and with 6 segments. The second will be generated by the radius of 2 and 4 segments. The third will have the radius of 3, but it will use the previous segments, which is 4. And again, the last one will use again the radius of 3 and 4 segments. So this will you can see the result will be like this. So the actually what we call it in data matching in default Grasshopper is longest list, which means that the important thing in data matching in default is longest list, which means the longest list, for example, which is here the fourth items, will participate in generating our algorithms, generating our modules. So this is called a longest list because uh, each of these items will grasp data to generate, for example, polygons. But there is also another data matching, which is shortest list. Which is, for example, if I have 6 items, for example, if I make a copy of this, or no, from this, and if I have 6 points here and 3 points here, what will happen is the first goes with first, second, second, third, third, and there's these 3 points which have no matches items. It doesn't work for them anything. A component that we have in Grasshopper is again shortest list. What will this component do is that if I delete this and, for example, set multiple points for this and set multiple points for this, these 3 items, because they have no matching points, nothing will happen for them. Another data matching is cross-reference, which means what will happen in this component is that all of this, the first point will be connected to all of data, all of items in the second input. So the start point will be connected to the end point, to all of these data. Again, the second point will be connected to all of these data to end point. And again, fourth point with all of the items in this one. and same with the 6 plants. So what we will have in this cross-reference, we'll have 6 points here, 3 points here, and the result is 18 lines. So I will make a copy of this and set multiple points from here and set multiple points from here. So if I delete this and use cross reference, and then delete this, the result will be like this. In data matching, it's important to consider that this is the connection between two branches. It doesn't mean that the data in one branch can connect to each other. For example, if I draw some circles, set multiple points here, and then circle, and then various radius, multi-line data. As you can see, the default data matching, which is longest list. Now if I use the component cross reference and connect this with each other, you can see at this point we'll use these 3 items to draw various circles, which means that in the end I will have 3 items here, 3 items here. I will have 9 circles. So it doesn't mean that can these points in this branch can connect to each other. It means the connection between these 2 lists. It doesn't mean the connection between these 3. So what we have here is data matching. One is longest list. This is longest list. I will make a group out of this. This is shortest list. And this one is cross reference. In order to see these components easier, I will display draw icons, and then I will use this bifocals, which you can download it from Food for Rhino. I will put the link of Food for Rhino and downloading this plugin in the Google Drive. When you use it, uh, it will write what is this, for example, component. In this way, you will understand, you will both see the icons and what is the name of, for example, this icon. Because it can really help us after a while when we see these icons by image, we will understand easier. So we'll use these bifocals to write the name of these components. And also it's better to disable drawful names because the size of these components will be smaller during time. It doesn't look so messy. Also, for example, if I search um, bifocals, if I search, food for Rhino is a very useful source for downloading sources and plugins in Rhino. So, for example, I search bifocals here and search it. It will show. Uh, it is free. You can download this plugin easily and decide Grasshopper for Rhino 4 and 5. And for example, I guess this one is the latest one. You should just this one actually. Focus install. Yeah, you should log in. It's also easy to log in. Uh, it's free and you can use it. So I will also put this plugin in the Google Drive so you can install it easily and use it to draw these icons. Also, in order to um, install these plugins, you can easily just drag the plugin and it will be installed, or you can import it from here, file, special folders, components folders, and then you can drag your desired plugins here so it will be installed very easily. Then you can just restart your Rhino, I mean close it and open it, so you will see these plugins. We will later also use another plugins such as these to learn more about these useful plugins. And let me use a longest here. As I told, the default of Rhino is longest list. But why should we use this component which is longest list here? The reason that this component has very useful items when I right click on it, which is repeat first, repeat last, interpolate, wrap, flip, and again there is the same items in shortest list, trim, start, trim, and interpolate, and also in cross reference, which is holistic, diagonal, and this. You should have a very important exercise, and please exercise this because it's very important and very useful in becoming a professional grasshopper designer. Uh, Please enable all of these items and for example this, and let's see what happened when you will change these settings, and then we can share it later with each other. and share our understanding regarding this matter. So it's really important to um, try all of these items. So in this session, at last, I'm going to generate 4 points. 1, 2, 4, and polygon point. Set multiple points. Set these points, and then I will create a panel. 2, 3. Right click on it and multi-line data as its radius. I'm going to change it, for example, to this, and then another plan, 3x and multi-line data. So what happened as by default is longest list, that we're going to have these 4 points. Will have the first and second will have 3, will have the radius of and a half, 1.2, and this happened while I'm using cross reference, and when I connect this, I will have 4, 2, and 3, which means that I will have 4 in 2 in 3, which will be 24 polygons. And for example, when I right click on this, when I select enable these various items, different output will happen. Holistic, diagonal. Please exercise this and various options and cross-reference various options, shortest list and longest list, to discover what will be the result. And then I'm going to save this. And also this one to put in Google Drive.